web of connectedness beneath the surface. That web-like structure is not the internet. It is far, far bigger than that. This is about cosmic warfare. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. Most people wear blinders about pedophiles because we superimpose our ideas about normal sexual attraction onto abnormal people. Pedophiles are wired differently than we are. They aren't sexually stimulated by the same circumstances as the rest of us. In fact, they are attracted and stimulated in ways that make no sense to us. We can hardly bring ourselves to believe these shocking statistics. 34% of child sexual abuse victims are under 9 years of age. Only 26% of the child sexual abuse victims are between the ages of 12 and 14. Research estimates that approximately 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls are sexually abused before the age of 18. Although sexual abuse is not uncommon in males, we tend to think only females are at risk. Furthermore, we believe that we would certainly know it if our child had been sexually assaulted. However, up to 40% of children who are sexually abused do not exhibit any symptoms. Even if there are indications of abuse, the signs can be very subtle. When children are trying to disclose abuse, they often only imply that something has happened to them, without directly stating that they were sexually abused. They may be testing the reaction of parents or other adults by hinting at, rather than stating what has happened. If children believe that a small hint has been accepted well, they may follow with a larger hint. Children often don't disclose abuse because they are afraid their abuser will harm them or their family members. They often delay making a disclosure until adulthood. When children do disclose, they generally tell friends or siblings. If they tell a family member other than a sibling, it is usually a mother. Few children disclose to authorities or professionals. If children do disclose to an authority figure, they usually will tell a teacher. Males tend not to disclose their victimization, so the abuse of males may be significantly underreported. A male feels societal pressure to be strong and not be seen as a victim. No book can tackle all the aspects of this problem: its causes, its symptoms, its after effects, and solutions for recovery. When you read this book, the sheer breadth of what evil can do might overwhelm you. I suggest you think of this book as a buffet from which you can select what fits your needs, not as an entire 16-course meal. Continue reading the introductory chapters, then choose the scenarios that interest you most. You don't get extra credit for reading the whole book, so relax and learn. In addition, I have very good news for parents whose children have been affected by sexual abuse. As I look back at decades of cases in which I've counseled children, I can assure you that children are very resilient. With treatment, children can put sexual abuse behind them, especially if it was of short duration and/or occurred fairly early in childhood. So there is hope in disaster. But this book starts before the problems, with information, insights, and strategies. You have an incredible resource right inside you. It is the grace of God. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in this present age. Titus, chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. Having a warrior heart means learning to say no to whatever puts that heart at risk. You have a warrior heart in protecting your child, and you can create just that kind of brave, noble, and prepared heart in your child. A child's warrior heart takes training. Let's get started. Beth Robinson, EDD. Chapter 1. Know the turf, have a plan, protect your children. Face it, there are an increasing number of situations in daily life that are no longer safe. At least, not unless you as a parent put in place the boundaries to keep your children safe in them. You can do this not just by restricting their access to dangerous places and dangerous people, but by helping your children create with you mental and spiritual safety zones where they and you know how to protect them, where they can say with courage and authority, no. This is the essence of empowering the warrior heart of your child. Jesus told us that